After a drunken night, I stumbled into my stepbrother's hotel room by mistake. A reckless night led to a child. As I was leaving in the darkness, my brother, who had always despised me, grabbed my arm and promised, "No matter who you are, I will find you and take responsibility." Later, I stared at the positive pregnancy test, my heart filled with a joyful hope that my 8-year-long secret crush would finally come true. But he never came for me. Instead, I found him back together with his first love, the same girl who had bullied me relentlessly. He raised an eyebrow at me, his voice dripping with scorn. "See, Ruru? I told you. This pathetic dog is still obsessed with me. It's hilarious. It makes my skin crawl just seeing her around. And she has the audacity to keep living in my house. She's just like her dead, two-faced mother. A cheap tramp." Without a second thought, I terminated the pregnancy and booked the first flight out of the country. He, in turn, went white-haired overnight, his eyes bloodshot and crazed. He searched the world for me like a madman. It was 3 a.m. when I arrived at the address Leo had given me, a thin sheen of sweat on my forehead. My hand clutched the pregnancy test results, my mind racing with ways to tell him the good news. The door swung open. Leo stood there, his smile as cruel as ever. "I knew you'd come." I froze. "What do you mean?" Just then, a woman in slinky lingerie emerged from the room. Leo's voice dripped with malicious glee. "See, Ruru? I told you this pathetic dog is still obsessed with me. She even wants to commit incest. How disgusting." The woman's arm snaked around his shoulder. "Oh, Leo, you're terrible. You win again. But hasn't Maya been crushing on you since high school? Look at her, still so devoted." She tittered. "Showing up at a man's door in her pajamas in the middle of the night. She's trying to seduce you." Leo wrapped an arm around her waist, scoffing. "I wouldn't touch a woman like this even if she was offered to me on a silver platter." Seeing the woman's face, a wave of revulsion washed over me. My mind went blank with panic. It was her. The girl who had led the charge in bullying and isolating me throughout high school. The fear and loneliness of those 3 years came flooding back. I slowly realized that this was just a game for Leo and his girlfriend, Stella. And I was the fool in their little circus. There were no taxis in this suburban wasteland at 3 a.m. I had walked for an hour in the freezing night, in nothing but my pajamas, all because of his call. Leo, how could he do this to me? The emotional turmoil and exhaustion sent a sharp pain through my lower abdomen. I turned to leave, but Leo, with a smirk, handed me a black plastic bag. "You came all this way. We can't let you go home empty-handed," he sneered. "Open it." Numbly, I did as he said. The bag was filled with writhing, slithering creatures. "Ah!" I screamed, stumbling backward and tumbling down the stairs. With all my might, I flung the bag away from me. It hit the ground, and a horde of snakes, big and small, poured out. They flicked their tongues, their beady eyes fixed on me, some even coiling into a strike pose. I lay sprawled on the ground, a pathetic heap. Leo looked down at me from the top of the stairs, his voice a cold warning. "You're the one who posted online about Stella bullying you, aren't you? Consider this a lesson. Next time, it won't be just snakes. It was years ago, let it go. Stella is going to be a big star. You'd better keep your mouth shut about what happened between you two. Or else, you know the consequences. Understood? A little roughhousing?" Those were his words now. 6 years. 6 years he had taken me to a psychologist. He had even broken up with Stella over it, calling her a venomous snake. And now that they were back together, her abuse was just a little roughhousing? So this was the real reason they had called me here. To threaten me, to pave the way for his precious Stella. Leo had always disliked me, but I never imagined he would go this far for her. We grew up together. He knew my deepest fear was snakes. No matter how much he teased or tormented me, he had never used snakes. But for Stella, anything was possible. A sharp, stabbing pain shot through my abdomen, and I curled into a ball. I felt something warm trickling down my leg. I clutched my stomach, panic seizing me. Please, I begged, my voice a weak whisper. Call an ambulance. Stella giggled, leaning against Leo. A little stomachache and you need an ambulance? Still playing the victim, I see. Your seduction techniques have gotten even more pathetic over the years. Like mother, like daughter. Is being a two-faced bitch genetic in your family? Her words stopped Leo, who had started to move towards me. The flicker of concern in his eyes was replaced by a burning hatred. You're just as cheap as your dead, two-faced mother, he spat. He then scooped up one of the snakes and threw it at me, as if venting his anger towards my mother. As Stella's coquettish giggles filled the air, the snake's cold, scaly body slithered across my skin. And then, everything went black. When I woke up, the doctor had already performed a DNC. I touched my abdomen. It was empty. The child I had so eagerly anticipated, the future I had so foolishly dreamed of, was gone. Tears streamed down my face, soaking the pillow. The nurses looked at me with pity. The doctor sighed. You must avoid alcohol and spicy food for the next few days. We also found several snake bites on you. Luckily, they weren't venomous. Miss, did someone do this to you? Do you want us to call the police? I slowly shook my head. I fell in love with Leo in high school. For 2 years, Stella made my life a living hell. She was Leo's girlfriend at the time, so I never told my mother or stepfather about the bullying, afraid it would only make Leo hate me more and make my life at home unbearable. But Leo noticed something was wrong. He followed me for a few days and discovered what Stella was doing. In a fit of rage, he smashed a chair over her head. As she stared at him in disbelief, he put his arm around me and declared, "She's my sister. You don't get to touch her. Don't be so shameless." Stella, furious, broke up with him. Fine by me, he'd said with his usual careless shrug. It was the first time I had ever felt protected. So, no matter how much he hated me, how much he insulted me, I threw myself at him like a moth to a flame. He was my light. But now, he was back with Stella, and he had destroyed our child with his own hands. This humiliating, one-sided love affair had to end. After the doctor left, I made a call overseas. Professor, I've made up my mind. I'm coming to join your research team. Are you sure, my dear? It's a tough road. You won't be back for at least 10 years. I touched my empty womb, another tear falling. I'm sure. There's nothing left for me here. Just then, a text from Leo came through. Stella has a dinner meeting at 8 tonight. It's all men. It's not safe for a young girl like her. You go in her place. For the first time, I didn't reply. Half an hour later, he called. Maya, are you trying to test my patience? How dare you not reply to my message? My voice was weak. Leo, I'm not feeling well. I can't go. He laughed, a cold, menacing sound. Can't go? Fine. Then you can say goodbye to your mother's ashes. Should I scatter them in a cesspool or a sewer? I clenched my fists, forcing the words out through the pain. I'll go. The day my mother was cremated, I had cried uncontrollably. Leo, with a complicated expression, had taken the urn from me. You're too upset. Let me hold on to this for you. For a moment, I had foolishly thought he was being kind. Then his expression changed. Ha ha ha, you idiot. From now on, you do whatever I say. Or your precious mother's ashes will be scattered to the winds. I got dressed and went home. Leo and Stella had clothes and jewelry laid out for me. Seeing me, Leo frowned. Why is your face so pale? Are you sick? Stella burst out laughing, a sharp, grating sound. Maya. You'll do anything to get Leo's attention, won't you? Piling on the powder to look like a tragic beauty. Just like your mother, always playing the victim. Leo's face darkened, his disgust deepening. He grabbed me and pushed me into a chair. Half an hour later, I looked at my reflection, cleavage exposed, back bare, and asked him, Are you satisfied? Do you hate me this much? The dinner was filled with leering men. He couldn't bear to send Stella, but he had dressed me up like a plaything to be offered up in her place. He looked at my attire, a visible wave of irritation crossing his face. Then he remembered my question and sneered, "Of course I hate you. I wish you were dead." After my stepfather divorced his first wife, he had hired my mother as a housekeeper to care for Leo. They fell in love and got married. Leo despised my mother, believing she had used deceitful means to seduce his father. He took out all his resentment on me, taking pleasure in my misery. He didn't know that my mother loved him more than his own mother ever did. The dinner party began. Every man in the room stared at me like a piece of meat. They toasted me again and again, their faces slick with lust. For the sake of my mother's ashes, I forced down glass after glass. At one point, I couldn't take it anymore. A woman, drunk in a room full of predatory men, I knew what would happen next. I clutched my chest and stumbled to the bathroom, planning to escape. A text from Leo buzzed on my phone. 2 words, "Go back." I hesitated, still determined to flee. Then another message arrived. A photo. His hand holding the urn, dangling over the edge of a high-rise balcony. My heart stopped. The background looked familiar. I looked up and saw him, standing on the balcony of the building opposite, one hand in his pocket, watching me with a look of detached amusement. He had been watching my humiliation, my desperate attempts to escape, this whole time. And he had done nothing. I returned to the banquet hall. A portly man immediately sidled up to me. "Well, hello there, Miss Jung. Feeling a little tipsy? How about I help you to a hotel room?" His greasy hand landed on my neck, his fingers starting to slide lower. "Your skin is so fragrant." Because of my escape attempt, the exit was now blocked by his bodyguards. I had no way out. So, I did the unexpected. I took a wine glass and held it to his lips, my face a mask of fawning flattery. "Thank you in advance for your kindness, Mr. Zhang." Through the transparent wall of the private room, my eyes met Leo's. His were burning with an unnamed fire. I was making a bet. A bet that somewhere in his bottomless well of hatred, there was a single drop of genuine feeling for me. For the rest of the night, I was a different person. I was no longer the timid girl, but a woman on the offensive, flitting from man to man, my wine glass always full. If Leo and Stella wanted to play games, I would play too. I had overheard that the editor-in-chief of a famous magazine was here. I wondered what he would think of a scoop about the rising star Stella and her history of bullying. "Mr. Zhao, it's an honor to have you here. Let me toast you. Editor-in-chief Li, a drink to you. I hope you'll keep what we discussed in mind." The alcohol was starting to go to my head. A dull ache in my abdomen was the only thing keeping me upright. The doctor's words echoed in my mind, "No alcohol after the DNC." I glanced out the window. The spot where Leo had been standing was littered with cigarette butts, but he was gone. Had I lost my bet? Mr. Zhang's bloated body pressed against me, his hands rubbing together gleefully. "Miss Jiang, aren't you hot in all those clothes? Let me help you with that." He started tearing at my dress. A wave of nausea washed over me. I frantically tried to dial 110, but he snatched the phone and threw it aside, slapping me hard across the face. "You bitch. Daring to call the cops. It's your honor to sleep with me." My top was ripped open, exposing my chest. Suddenly, the door burst open. A wine bottle smashed over Mr. Zhang's head. A few drops of blood splattered on my lips. Mr. Zhang, enraged, started to yell, "Who the hell?" then saw it was Leo and immediately switched to a fawning tone. "Young Master Jiang, I did as you asked. I taught the little bitch a lesson." A chill went down my spine. So I was right. This wasn't a dinner for Stella. It was a trap for me. Leo, a cigarette dangling from his lips, his eyes spitting fire, smashed another bottle over his head. "You son of a bitch. Who gave you permission to touch her? Do you have a death wish? I'll kill you today." Mr. Zhang, clutching his bleeding head, whimpered, "But, you said I could do whatever I wanted with her. That you wouldn't care even if I killed her." Leo's face froze. He looked at me, a flicker of panic in his eyes. I just laughed, a cold, empty sound. Thank you for not killing me, young Master Jeong. He stared at me for a long moment, then a humorless smile twisted his lips. Even a dog knows to wag its tail when I save it. What a fucking waste of my time. He turned and stalked out, leaving me there. No one dared to stop me as I stumbled out of the room. The next thing I knew, I was in my own bed. My mother's urn was on the nightstand, a mocking gesture of charity. I couldn't hold it in any longer. I clutched the urn and sobbed, a raw, primal scream of grief. Mom, everyone is bullying me. Mom, I miss you so much. Suddenly, the urn was snatched from my hands and smashed against the floor. It shattered, scattering my mother's ashes everywhere. Leo grabbed my face, forcing me to look at him. For the first time, I saw disappointment in his eyes. Maya, I never knew you could be so petty. The entire internet is crucifying Stella now. You've ruined her career. You conspired with that editor to expose her. You were depressed for a few years, but Stella has to live with the label of a bully for the rest of her life. How could you be so cruel? Just depressed for a few years. How could he say that so lightly? I started to laugh. Leo, sometimes I really regret ever meeting you. He scoffed. Regret? You're probably ecstatic. He pulled out my diary from its hiding place, the one where I had chronicled my secret, adolescent crush on him. He read it aloud, his voice dripping with triumphant scorn. In your senior year, you, a top student, were deliberately late every day. Just so you could walk to school with me. Freshman year of college, you bought a bunch of sexy clothes and asked for my opinion. What, did you think you could seduce me? Junior year, you loudly proclaimed that some guy was chasing you, hoping to make me jealous. Too bad I didn't give a damn. You were secretly in love with me for 8 years, and I never even gave you a second glance. My hands were shaking. I was drowning in shame. My fragile, naive love, laid bare for his amusement. Just then, Stella showed him a photo of my pregnancy test on her phone. You'd better contact that editor and tell him you lied about me, she sneered. Or I'll release this to the public. You don't even have a boyfriend, yet you managed to get yourself knocked up. How cheap can you be? The smirk on Leo's face vanished. What did you say? What child? Stella pressed herself against him, zooming in on the photo. Look, Leo. This woman has no shame. She's been sleeping around with some random guy. She even got pregnant. In an instant, Leo's face turned thunderous, his lips trembling with disbelief. He strode towards me and grabbed my throat. Whose child is it? I stubbornly turned my head away. His eyes bored into me, demanding an answer. Stella pouted, tugging on his arm. Leo, don't waste your time. Let's just make this bitch clear my name. He kicked her hard in the chest, sending her sprawling. Get the hell out of my sight, he roared. Stella stared at him, wide-eyed. Leo. You said you would take responsibility for me. How could you do this? He didn't even glance at her. He just screamed at me, you said you would love me forever. Why did you have a child with another man? Tell me. Tell me. He calmed down, a terrifying stillness settling over him. He looked at me, his hand slowly moving to my abdomen. Is it here? He whispered, his voice dangerously low. He pressed down hard. Here? Some other man's bastard child? I flinched, but I couldn't move. He laughed, a demonic sound. Scared now? Weren't you so brave when you were sleeping with another man? You said you only loved me. You liar. He threw me over his shoulder. We're going to the hospital. We're getting rid of it. After it's gone, we can start over. I don't care about your past. I struggled, and when I was back on my feet, I slapped him across the face. Are you insane? I don't love you anymore. He licked the blood from his lip and smiled, a chilling, predatory grin. Then who do you love? The bastard who knocked you up. Let me tell you something, Maya. Whether you love me or not has never been your choice. He dragged me to the hospital and ordered the doctor to perform an abortion. The doctor looked from him to me, hesitant. Sir, we need a family member's signature. It's against regulations otherwise. I'm her brother. Leo roared, pulling out our family register. The doctor looked at me. Ma'am, do you consent to this procedure? We cannot proceed without your consent. Under Leo's murderous gaze, I nodded. The child was already gone. It made no difference. Half an hour later, the doctor came out, furious. What is wrong with you people? This woman just had a DNC a few days ago, and now you're back? And she's not supposed to drink. What kind of boyfriend are you? Her uterus is showing signs of infection. Leo didn't hear the word infection. All he heard was that I had gotten rid of the child. He was ecstatic. He grabbed me in a hug. Good. Maya, that's great. You got rid of it. Does that mean you don't love that other guy? This is wonderful. You're so sensible. Let's go home. I'll make it up to you. I pushed him away. He didn't care about my pain. He didn't care why my uterus was infected. All he cared about was his own bruised ego. Just then, one of his bodyguards appeared and whispered in his ear, Sir, we've restored the hotel's security footage. The woman that night wasn't Miss Stella. It was. It doesn't matter who it was. Leo interrupted, beaming. All that matters is that Maya and I are back together. The bodyguard closed his eyes, as if bracing himself. The woman from that night, it was Miss Maya. Leo froze. It took a few seconds for the words to register. He turned to me, his face a mask of disbelief. So, the child, it was our child? I just smiled at him, a cold, mocking smile. He lunged at me, grabbing my collar, his eyes filling with tears of rage. Why did you kill our child? Maya. Do you have a heart? You said you loved me. Why did you kill him? I stared back at him, my own voice laced with venom. Let me tell you something, Leo. The person who killed him wasn't me. It was you. If you hadn't thrown those snakes at me, if you hadn't made me fall down those stairs, I would still have my child. He froze. In an instant, it all came rushing back to him. He slapped himself hard across the face. Fuck. I'm not a man. I'm a monster. He grabbed my hand, his own trembling. Maya, I'm so sorry. I didn't know it was you that night. I thought. I'm so sorry, Maya. Forgive me. Let's start over. I was wrong, I was so wrong. I pulled my hand away and looked him in the eye. Leo, I loved you for 8 years. I'm tired. I don't love you anymore. Do you understand? He looked at me, the full weight of his actions finally crashing down on him. He started to cry like a child. I'm sorry, please don't stop loving me. Maya, I was wrong. He grabbed my arm and started pulling me towards the door. It's all Stella's fault. That bitch. If she hadn't pretended it was her, I never would have hurt you. Let's go. I'll make her pay. I was too weak to resist. He dragged me out of the hospital. The car screeched to a halt in front of a lavish apartment building. In just a few days, he had bought Stella a new home. But he couldn't even be bothered to buy a cheap plot of land for my mother's grave. He didn't notice my silence as he pulled me into Stella's apartment. She was lying on the couch with a face mask on. What, Leo? Here to apologize? Well, I don't accept. Not unless you buy me another apartment. He walked over to her, a cold smile on his face, and dumped a bucket of water over her head. She shrieked and jumped up, glaring at me. You put him up to this. You're so vicious. You like to bully people, don't you? He said, cracking his knuckles. Let's see how you like it. He grabbed her by the hair and dragged her into the bathroom. Her screams echoed through the apartment. The memories of my own high school torment came rushing back. I covered my ears, trying to block out the sound. A news alert popped up on my phone. It was about Stella. After the editor-in-chief's exposé, a flood of people had come forward with their own stories of her bullying. Yes, it's true. She bullied a girl in my class constantly. Boycott Stella. She bullied my sister in middle school. How can someone like this be a role model? She should be banned. Without Leo's backing, Stella had no money for a PR team to clean up her mess. She was finally getting what she deserved. Her screams continued, but I felt no satisfaction, only a resurgence of my own past trauma. I slipped out of the apartment and called a taxi. My professor had been calling, urging me to finalize my plans. I finished all my paperwork. In a week, I would be gone. I carefully placed my mother's ashes in a small box, one she had given me as a child. I never imagined that one day, it would hold all that was left of her. Leo didn't come back until 8 that night. He rushed to me, his voice desperate. I'm sorry. Maya, please forgive me. Let's start over. I just shook my head, my eyes empty. No. I don't love you anymore. He stared at me for a long moment, then a bitter smile twisted his lips. You hate me, don't you? That's okay. Hit me. Get your revenge. After you're done, we can be together again, right? He took my hand and started hitting himself in the chest with it. I was disgusted by his childish theatrics and snatched my hand away. He didn't get angry. He just pulled out case after case of high-proof liquor. Maya, you hate me for that dinner, don't you? I'll drink. However much you drank that night, I'll drink it all. Before I could stop him, he started downing glass after glass. He was allergic to alcohol. The last time he had a severe reaction, he almost died. It was my mother who had stayed by his side, nursing him back to health. She always said he was just a boy who didn't know how to love because he had never been loved properly himself. That's why she had always tolerated his prejudice and his cruelty. But he, instigated by a few words from his own mother, had hated her for it. I looked at him. Red welts were already appearing on his skin. Stop being so childish, I said, my voice cold. Even if you drink yourself to death, I won't love you. The ice in my eyes seemed to finally break him. He fell to his knees, sobbing. No, Maya, you're not supposed to look at me like that. Not like that. Please, look at me again, the way you used to. After being rushed to the hospital, Leo seemed to calm down. He still tried to win me back, but his tone had reverted to its usual careless arrogance. When I rejected him again, he finally lost his patience. Maya, what are you still so angry about? I've apologized, I've admitted I was wrong, I drank myself into the hospital. What more do you want? Throwing a tantrum once or twice is one thing, but don't think you can push me too far. Do you know how much ridicule I endured because of your two-faced mother? I haven't even settled that score with you. He was blaming my mother again. This time, I didn't ignore it. I put down the clothes I was packing and looked at him. Come with me. There's somewhere I want to take you. He followed me, confused, as I drove for 2 hours to a remote cave. Inside, thousands of phosphorescent stones cast a soft, ethereal glow. As I expected, he was immediately captivated. Maya, did you find this for me? He asked, his eyes wide with wonder. It must have taken you forever to collect all these. He knelt down, picking up the stones with childlike excitement. My mother was right. He did have a childlike heart. My mother found them, I said, holding one of the stones in my palm. For your birthday. He looked at me, confused. My mother had died before she could give him his gift. The stones had been glowing here in the darkness ever since, a silent testament to a love that had gone unseen. I took a photograph from a ledge and handed it to him. It was a picture of him on his 6th birthday, holding a small cake, his face beaming with joy. He frowned, his breathing quickening. Where did you get this? You stole it. My mother wasn't even working for my father then. That was true. The day my mother picked me up from school, we had passed by a mansion in a wealthy neighborhood and saw a little boy crying. It was Leo. Today's my birthday, he had sobbed. But my mommy and daddy are busy with work, no one remembered. My mother, her heart aching for him, had bought each of us a small cake. Your name is Leo, right? Maya, let's sing happy birthday to our big brother Leo. We sang and blew out the candles, and he finally smiled. My mother took a picture of him, one for each of us. Leo shook his head, his face a mask of disbelief. It was you? You were there on my birthday? Impossible. If it was your mother, why didn't she ever say anything? All those years I treated her so badly, if she had just told me, I would have stopped. I had recognized him the first time I saw him at his house. I was about to say hello, but he had just looked at me with disdain. So you're the baggage she brought with her. I had exchanged a look with my mother. I knew she had recognized him too. Later, I asked her why she didn't say anything. That boy, she had said, he's proud and insecure. He doesn't believe anyone could truly love him. I'm going to prove him wrong. I'm going to love him just as much as I love you. And when he finally accepts us, then we'll tell him the secret. Okay? So she had loved him, fiercely and unconditionally. But in his eyes, it was all just an act. He didn't believe in selfless love. He once told me that all human connection was based on self-interest. I closed my eyes, my heart aching for my mother's years of silent pain. Leo was becoming more and more agitated. No. That's not it. Your mother did this to make me feel guilty. It's revenge. It's all a trick. I had had enough of his paranoia. I handed him a stack of letters from a hidden nook in the cave. They were my mother's diaries. The day he had burned all her belongings, I had managed to salvage these from the fire. They were singed at the edges. Half the entries were about me, the other half were about him. She had documented his favorite foods, his clothing style, his likes and dislikes. His frown deepened as he read. I dug a small hole in the cave floor and carefully buried my mother's ashes. She had loved this place. Let her rest here. When I was done, I looked at Leo. He was on the verge of a complete breakdown, tears and snot streaming down his face, soaking the letters. Words have power. They build bridges between hearts. He finally understood. Someone had truly loved him. He couldn't take it anymore. With a strangled cry, he fled the cave. One of the pages from the diary fluttered to the ground in front of me. On it, my mother described how she had begged his birth mother to attend his graduation ceremony. I remembered that day. He had been trying so hard to suppress his joy. And it was all because of my mother. But his birth mother, seeing how much my mother loved him, had felt threatened. She began to poison their relationship. After that day, his attitude towards my mother had worsened. No wonder he was so broken. The two people who had ever truly loved him, one with a mother's love, the other with a lover's devotion, he had lost them both. He came back, crying, and asked me where I had buried my mother's ashes. I didn't tell him. The person who had treated her so coldly in life had no right to mourn her in death. There are no second chances in this world. A week later, I boarded a plane out of the country. When Leo realized I was gone, he rushed to the airport, still in his pajamas. He stood at the gate, shouting my name. Maya. Please, look back at me. Don't leave me alone. I love you. I love you. I kept walking, pulling my suitcase behind me. I never looked back. Later, I heard from friends that he had gone white-haired overnight. He searched for me everywhere, like a madman. He even went abroad, but the world is a big place, and he never found me. And I threw myself into my research. The past was like a long, long dream. Now, the dream was over. It was time to get to work.